So behind me I've got a 5K iMac, a 4K LG and a 2K BenQ. Which one do you think looks best? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sean and in today's video I am reviewing a monitor that has been generously provided by JW Computers in Sydney. This is the BenQ EX2780Q. Now I've talked about JW Computers in previous videos, and if you are in Australia and you need some computer parts, then I would highly recommend checking them out. That being said, this is in no way a sponsored video or a paid video by them, or is it one from BenQ. They just simply reached out to me to ask, would I be interested in reviewing this monitor, which I am, and now I'm here to share that with you guys. Now that I have a NVIDIA 2070 Super and I can push those higher frame rates, it's really apparent to me now that I need a monitor that can keep up. So that's, I guess, where this monitor from BenQ, I guess, fits perfectly with what I've got going on. It has a panel of 2560 by 1440, it's IPS, it's got an 8-bit color depth, it's got HDR 400, but the best part about it, in my opinion, is the fact that it is a 144Hz monitor. And from the outside of the box, the aesthetics of it, it's that kind of monitor that you could probably sneak past your significant other without them really catching on to the fact that you've just gone out and bought a gaming monitor. It actually slots in to your home office or your work really, really nicely without being too gamery or too aggressive. So if you guys like this video, chuck it a like, get subscribed. If you want to come and hang out and chat, I am on Twitch 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Links to all of my social media is down below. And now that's all said and done, let's begin. So as I mentioned in the intro of this video, one thing that I do really like about this monitor is the aesthetics. It's not super gamey, it doesn't have a lot of RGB, it doesn't have any RGB, and BenQ called this color metallic brown / black. And the reason why is you've got this brown, I guess, plastic and this honeycomb pattern down the bottom here for the built-in speaker. This black section here is actually the IR sensor for the remote control, which I'll get to. And then you've got a metallic brown base, and then the back sides, the top and around the frame is completely black. So I think if you're trying to fit this in an office or at your home office, or you're trying to fit it in with other furniture without bringing the attention to the monitor itself, this design I really, really like. Another great benefit is the fact that this is an IPS panel. So even though it looks aesthetically really nice as well, you've got an awesome panel here. So it's 2560 by 1440. And because it's IPS, the viewing angles are really good. So if you actually see, we're probably on about a 35, 40 degree angle here, and you can still see that we're not really losing any detail at all in the actual display. Everything still pops really well, and you can actually see all of the colors quite clearly, which is one of the main benefits of IPS, is that color accuracy. Now, the main star of the show, and probably the reason why you're all here, is the fact that this is a 144Hz display. So if you come in, you can see on the screen here, you've got the desktop resolution of 2560 by 1440. The refresh rate is set to 143.999, which is 144. And then the color bit depth is 8-bit color. So you're gonna get really, really good color accuracy, super, super fast refresh at a really good resolution for, gaming, video editing, or even if you just wanna watch movies. The next part that I'll talk about is the fact that this has built-in speakers, which I'm a huge fan of. These speakers are not gonna be, I guess, the speakers to use for a house party or anything like that, but they're definitely loud enough that if you wanted to watch a movie or some TV or maybe play some games without having headphones on, these speakers will definitely do the job. You've got some front-facing speakers at the bottom of the monitor, and then at the back you've actually got another smaller speaker, which is actually technically a subwoofer, to give you some bass with some of that sound. And as you'll see, I'm just going to load up some music on Spotify here, and this is at maximum volume, but the actual speakers do a pretty good job. So let's just play some music from Stream Beats on Twitch. And this is currently at 100% volume. So in Windows, we've got it maxed out, and there's a little volume wheel here as well. And I'll just turn this one all the way up as well. So not super groundbreaking stuff in terms of audio quality. It's not going to be a Dolby 5.1 experience, but it will definitely get the job done for movie watching, listening to music, or like I said, playing games if you're maybe tired of wearing headphones. If you don't want to use the speakers, it actually does have a headphone jack in the back of the monitor, so you can just plug in your own headphones and you can switch between the speakers or the headphones, I guess, at your leisure. So that's actually really cool that they've included a few different options there for you guys. Now in terms of inputs, I hope I get this part right. We've got two HDMI 2.0 ports, which will cap you at 120 Hertz. You've got one display port, which will actually get you all the way up to 144 Hertz. But then you've also got a USB Type-C port, which is awesome. So the reason why they've done that is so you can get something like your MacBook Pro, which has USB Type-C, or any other Windows laptop with USB Type-C. You can plug it into your computer and it will also charge your MacBook Pro, for example, like what I've got here, at the exact same time. So it's simply just a one cable solution. You don't need two cables for display out and charging. On a MacBook Pro like what we've got simply one USB Type-C cable, which comes included, by the way, and we're now mirroring our display up onto the BenQ monitor. If we want to though, we can just close the lid altogether, and if you give it a second, what should happen is we should get the MacBook Pro staying on permanently, and now we've just got our primary display coming out through the BenQ monitor, and the sound from this display, the sound from this MacBook Pro is also going to come out through the BenQ. So really, if you wanted to, you could have this as your work monitor, and you could have all of your Mac apps all up on here with your sounds just all sent through one cable, which I think is actually an awesome feature, and more monitors need to include USB Type-C for this particular function. It's a great hybrid monitor from work, play, and anything else in between. Now this here is a really cool feature that I wish all monitors, I guess, above $350 included, because I don't think it would cost much to make and implement. But the fact that there is a remote control to control things like your HDRI setting, your, I guess, contrast, brightness, all those settings, the different color modes. So if you want it to be in a reading mode or a cinematic mode or a gaming mode, you can do all of this through the remote. You can also change the volume, turn that up and down, and you can also change the sound profile from gaming to music to pop or live music or to dialogue. And then you can switch inputs, turn it on and off, do everything that you would expect to do on a remote, and it's quite nice to hold, and it doesn't take up very much space, and I think it just runs off like a little coin battery here as well. If you don't want to use the remote, at the back of the monitor there is a little joystick with a few buttons there to make it easy to navigate through the menus, as there's quite a lot of them. But the menu layout and the remote, I think, is actually really well done, and it helps you navigate the different settings on the monitor, because there's a lot of them, quite easily. Now, the last thing I will say about the things that I do like about this monitor is that you can VESA mount it if you want to. So it uses a standard VESA mount pattern on the back, and you can actually put it onto any monitor arm that will suit up to a 27-inch display, as what I've done in some of the footage that you'll see coming up, and it works absolutely flawlessly. The screws come included as well, so if you already have a monitor on an existing VESA mount, you can reuse those same screws or use the ones that come in the box from BenQ. Now, here are some of the things that I don't particularly like, and this is probably just going to sound like a bit of a whinge or like I'm nitpicking, but I hope that this really is something that you guys take into consideration when buying this monitor, and at the very least, maybe BenQ takes this into consideration for their future monitors. So the first thing I'll say is the fact that this volume dial here does not have a tactile bump. So for example, I can move my finger really slowly across, and I can get increments of between 5 and 10 every time I do that. But if I go really quickly, it doesn't really do anything. Sometimes it actually goes backwards, or the most it goes up maybe one notch. So for the fact that, it's a little thing, but they've included a volume dial here for you to use, but the fact that there's no tactile bump, I think is a really simple fix, and will make the whole experience a lot better. For me anyway, I like to have incremental control over everything. There's percentages for a reason and numbers for a reason. And so personally, I would like to see a little bump there so I can choose or know, without having to look at it, how many times I'm going up or down in volume. The ergonomics of this monitor are not the best, unfortunately. You only get one method of, I guess, adjusting or moving the monitor, which is simply a tilt, and it's a very decent amount of tilt. I mean, you can tilt back quite a far way. You can't really tilt forward too much, but there is no height adjustment, there is no swivel adjustment, and you cannot rotate the display. So if you want to do any of those other things, you would need to purchase a second stand like a VESA mount. So again, considering that this monitor is $750, $800, I feel like the stand could be improved a little bit, or they should at least give you the option of height adjustment and a little bit of swivel. Rotation is not necessary. No, not a lot of you use it in that portrait mode, but swivel and height adjustment I think is an absolute must, especially if this is a monitor that they're targeting for hybrid between gaming and working and stuff like that. And lastly, one of the things that is a bit of a nitpick is the lack of integration with the Mac. If you want to go ahead and adjust the brightness or adjust the sound using the keyboard on the Mac, unfortunately you can't do it. So when you plug it into your MacBook Pro, at least this is from my experience running the latest version of Mac, is when I'm pressing brightness up and down, it just doesn't do anything. And when I'm doing the volume up and down, it doesn't do anything. I actually have to go up to the slider and manually slide the volume to whatever level that I want it set to. So that's just one other little thing. It might be different on the Windows platform, but on Mac, that was the experience that I had. So guys, what did you think of this monitor? Do you agree or disagree with any of the points that I made? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let me know in the comment section, as well as anything that you need clarification on, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. If you're looking for another video to check out, a good one to watch is the one I did about leaving YouTube live for Twitch. A link to that is up in the corner, and you can head over and check that out now.